All right, guys. All right. All right. Welcome back to No Filter MMA, guys. I know we're a little bit late, but that's okay. We're late, but we're here. I am here with UFC featherweight killer, the coldest motherfucker in the game, Steve, the Mean Machine Garcia. Man, how you doing, bro?
You got me blushing, bro. Don't be talking like that. Come on. No, man, I'm good. I'm good. I'm home. You know what I mean? It's been a crazy 2 weeks. So I'm home and I'm with my family, man. It's a good time to be alive right now. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So I mean, yeah, you've had a whirlwind of a couple weeks. You were supposed to fight 2 weeks ago, and
Yeah.
you got sick, man. And then they postponed it a week. We're gonna talk about what happened 2 weeks ago, but I want to talk about how how fans don't really understand fighters who have like repeated health issues or like who are prone to just issues. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you've had issues in the past, you know what I'm saying, with your body and stuff like that. And I seen a lot of negative comments when the announcements were made that you were out of the fight. There were a lot of negative comments. I know you probably don't read them, but I was like, something's got to be wrong in order for Steve Garcia to pull out of a fight. You know?
Definitely, bro. Like I'm not one of those guys that like to just pull out. Um, Especially when I had so many people go into the event, especially in Austin, dude. Like, dude, it hurt me, bro. It hurt me. I had over like 150 people just like hitting me up because it's almost like a second home for me. Like I have so much family in Texas. My dad's side of the family, which I'm really close to, is from Texas. Um, and it's just I got a lot of love there. I fought there before, and I've created some a good fan base there too. So it really hurt me when wasn't able to compete. You know what I mean? And everybody's like trying to sell their tickets because I'm the main reason why they go. You know what I mean? Some of them are just like MMA fans only because of me. You know what I mean? So it really messed with me. And it's not like I was trying to just not fight. You know what I mean? That's why I was like, no, we gotta figure out a time, to get back in there. So when I got sick, I went straight to my opponent and I was like, hey man, I was very apologetic. I was like, dude, I'm so sorry, man. I was like, I owe you a fist fight. I was like, if you want to run this back, like you tell me when. It can't happen this weekend, but maybe we can figure something out like soon. And he's Brazilian, so I didn't really. He was saying we had a translator, and he says, yeah, maybe in like 15 days or 2 weeks or whatever. And I was like, yeah, man. I was like, let's do it. So once they actually took us to the airport like right after, and I get a phone call and they just asked me like, hey, like, can you fight next week? And I talked to Greg, my coach, and he's like, no, he says to make another cut like that, he says your body's already done. He says it's gonna lock up because we water load and stuff. So when we don't water load, we trick our body to let the water out constantly, and then the last day we pretty much just like suffocate it. You know what I mean? And we shock it, and then it's almost tricked to like let release water. Well, once you do that, then you kind of like shocked your body, and it's hard to kind of like get your body to do that again so quickly. You can't lose the weight that fast. So he's like, no, absolutely not. You're not going to do that. And I was like, all right. So I told my guy, I was like, yeah, 45. Like my coach is not about it. He says maybe at a higher weight, but I don't have to cut as much weight. Just because of what just happened. We might look into that. And so I hopped on the plane, went home, and literally on my well, actually, I went back just a little bit. He says I wasn't gonna be able to fight till March. I was like, damn, man. I was like, I couldn't catch a break type of thing. And so I flew to Albuquerque. As soon as I landed, I turned on my signal, and it was like, hey, 155 next week. Are you in? I was like, yeah, let's go. So
Yeah.
I was excited about it, and here we are now. You know what I mean? It just was a week later. That's all it was, and they fit me into the card, and fought the same guy. It was nice because I didn't have to change my game plan. I didn't have to worry about any of that stuff. So it worked out.
Steve, you look so good at 55 though, man. Like you look so good at 55. I know people have told you that though. Like,
Yeah,
dude, you look good at 55, bro. You look big, you look tall, you know what I'm saying? You look physically, I don't know how to put it, dude, but you look like a big lightweight. Like it's crazy how you fight at 145, but you look so big at 155. How do you feel? I asked you this before. How do you feel at 55?
Actually, like smaller to them because most people that fight at 55, they're cutting from like 185, 190. And so when they get back up to like their normal or like to the weights they typically step in the cage in, it's probably like 175 to 180. That's normally what they walk in at. I've never been over 180 pounds. So like I think and honestly it was kind of weird because I couldn't hold the weight on during that whole next week, which was kind of weird to me. Because I was already like 50. I think like on Wednesday, I was like 57, like 58. And I was like, dude, I just have like 2 pounds of cut. This is weird. And I was eating a ton that the PI was giving me. I had like extra meals, extra carbs, extra everything. And my body was just like, my metabolism was just, running on all cylinders, which was something that like is cool, but not that I was expecting. So it was a very easy cut. We cut like, I want to say we cut like 4 pounds. You know what I mean? It wasn't anything crazy. And so when I gained my weight back, I always they always check me like right before I step in the cage. So when I went out there, I was like 160, I think it was like 165.2. You know what I mean? So the difference between like weight classes is just what you can get back to like your highest weight and go back in that cage, and you just have a natural advantage just because you're just a little bit heavier. You know what I mean? And then to tack onto that, I went to the UFC PI, and they told me that I need to be at 45. So,
okay, yeah, I remember you telling me that before. I definitely remember you telling me that before. They said your body composition and whatnot, everything looks like a featherweight. So let's go into this fight, Steve. I know. Last time we talked, I know you told me a lot about your backstory and how you got here. Now it's time to talk about this ass whooping. Yeah. Okay. So I mean, first round out the gate, he clearly didn't want anything to do with the stand-up. He clearly did not want to stand that range with you because you told me last time, you're like, your coaches tell you don't start so fast. You know what I'm saying? But you can't help it, man. It's like when you get in there, dude, you can't help it. You just right out the gate, So he was on you, dude. But you were doing a lot of things when he was, had you against the cage and was holding on to you. You were moving, you were swiveling your hips, you were doing a lot of things in there. So he couldn't really like lock you down like he was trying to do. Like he was trying to like slow you down. And then I noticed that like I'm guessing he thought maybe you coming into the second round that you were gonna be tired. You know what I'm saying? But no, bro, like he looked tired. You know what I'm saying? Like because I mean, I don't know if he was fighting out of his kind of comfort style or whatever, but dude, he was trying to wrap you up and slow you down and not let those weapons loose, bro. But you came out in that second round, dude. Talk us through the first round, because this fight is so much happened in this fight. Talk us through that first round, bro.
Well, I think everybody was surprised that he was so quick. I mean, I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but I was surprised that he shot in as quickly as he did. Let's go back to some of his previous fights, because obviously, like, I had to do my homework. What kind of fight would I be if I didn't? And this guy doesn't take people down really. He strikes and he likes to kick. He uses his left. He's really left side dominant, and he's very heavy with it. He throws a lot of left hooks, a lot of left straights, and a lot of left like teeps and head kicks and stuff. But we're both southpaws, so it changes it up a little bit, and I think that might have made it felt a little bit uncomfortable. I mean, Hooper was southpaw. I think Luis Pena was southpaw. I've fought so many southpaws already, even before then too. So it's not like I'm unfamiliar with it. But you know me, man, I'm coming in and I'm like, bro, like it's kill it, be killed in my head. Like that's just how I am. Like that just, I wish I could kind of like tame it just a little bit more, but the dog comes out quickly. I don't know why, but it does. And that first round, man, was just very frustrating. I didn't expect it to be that way, but my coach always told me, because I'm not like this crazy savvy, all these accolades of wrestling and stuff. And honestly, I took a lot of gold in jiu-jitsu tournaments and stuff. So I have the well-roundedness, but bro, people too.
You're very well-rounded.
Yeah,
Very well rounded.
and
Yes.
people don't necessarily understand that. Like for me, I have all those things, but you tune in to watch Steve Garcia because he brings it, and that's what I want. That's what I come to fight, and that's what I bring to the table. You know what I mean? Like we're throwing chingazos, bro. Like we're gonna throw tit for tat, and one of us is going down. You know what I mean? And it didn't happen the first round. I just had to figure it out a little bit. But my coach told me anytime that I can he uses this analogy. He's like, Steve, have you ever hugged a cactus? I was like, no. And I was like, what do you think? He's like, Steve, be a cactus. And I was like, he's like, anywhere you are, make it suck. Like, just hurt him. Make it uncomfortable. Don't let him wrap you up. He wraps him up like not like chew on his freaking his elbows, his arms, his kneecaps, his head. Like, do not like let it be so easy for him to just like grab you. When he does, make him pay. And so it always stuck with me. And that's why like when I fight, even when I'm in these bad positions on my back, I think in my last fight I was on my back and I was like punching him still in the face and I was just like making it miserable for him. You know what I mean? And if I can do that, I know I can kind of just like start making you feel a little bit more uncomfortable. And when you're uncomfortable, then I'm able to do what I need to do to either get up or to transition or whatever the case is. So I felt like that was kind of annoying to him in the sense of it going back to the first round too, because like I was annoyed, but for him, he couldn't take me down. Like that's kind of in my head, that's kind of heartbreaking. Like I can't get this guy down on the ground. I can't take his back. I can't get him on the floor. Like he was transitioning so much that my forearms started to kind of get a little gassy. You know what I mean? Like they're getting a little tight. But I'm like, if mine are I started to feel a little bit. His is way worse than mine. You know what I mean? So
Sure.
I felt like that kind of like had to do with some veteran experience. He has more fights than I do, but I feel like I fought tougher guys and tougher opponents than he has, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I think it kind of showed. You know what I mean? So when the second round came out, I get another go, bro. Like let's go. Like I'm gonna put my hands on you somehow. So you're not safe in there with me.
Yeah, yeah, bro. And yeah, dude, you came out. We're gonna get to that second round. We're gonna get to the second round, bro. But I was just talking about this the other night on a podcast. How I mostly talk women's MMA, but we were talking about how like we were using Macy Barber as an example. You know what I'm saying? And as we can see, like lately with Macy Barber, Macy exposing girls that can't fight in the clinch. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, it's simple as that. Like, clinch work is one of the most underrated parts of this thing, you know what I'm saying? And Macy at 125 is exposing a lot of girls in that area because Macy putting girls there and she hurting girls in the clinch. You know what I'm saying? And so when that fight was taking place, when your fight was taking place, I was like, Steve's cage defense is like his clinch defense is very good because this guy was trying all kind of thing. He was trying to trip you to get you down. Like your balance was on point, your reaction times was on point, your awareness of where he was and what he was doing was on point. And then like every time you got the opportunity to throw an elbow back or something like that, you did it. You know what I'm saying? So your work on the cage was pretty good, Steve. I have to say it really was pretty good.
Well,
I don't know if that's something you worked or not, but it was really good.
I'm very, very comfortable there, and it's kind of a good and a bad thing because back in the day, I had to change my style up because I was like I really adopted like a Dominic Cruz style. If you go back and watch like my early fights, like in Bellator, I had really, really good footwork, and I did it to not take damage. You know what I mean? But I didn't have like these crazy knockouts you're seeing because you're not planted. When you're planted, I feel like God to give us all abilities, man. And like I feel like I have power in my hands, and if I touch you, it's gonna really, really do something to you. And back then, I kind of took that away from using so much footwork. But I would get stuck on the cage. But I always felt comfortable against the cage. The problem is that like you couldn't finish me against the cage. You couldn't really take me down off the cage. They were just I don't know. We did so much cage work, where I'm from, that like I was just calm, cool, and collective, against it. Like I said, good and bad things. Sometimes you shouldn't be too too relaxed, I guess you could say, because then you start exactly what happened in round one. You get so comfortable, not necessarily being comfortable, but you're just like in this position where you're like, I'm good. You know what I mean? I'm fighting off this, I'm fighting off that. But then 5 minutes goes by and you're like, damn, like, all right, round two already. Like, that's, it's bittersweet.
Yeah, 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 for sure. So let me ask you this, man. So when you came out in that second round, man, when you came out, I was like, I said, okay, every fight starts at range, and Steve is going to fight because you fired off on him in the first round, and then he closed the distance on you and kind of held you down. You know what I'm saying? Held you against the cage and whatnot. But dude, you came out in that second round, man, and it was just what went on between rounds? Like, what did your coaches say to you between rounds?
One, they told me to kind of calm the hell down a little bit. You know what I mean? Especially like on my feet, just just tone it down just a smidge. And honestly, like this is kind of where I kick myself is that I was too tall. So I've always been used to fighting wrestlers, especially at 35. They're all small, so they all like to get underneath my jab or my shots, and they're in on my legs pretty quickly. And I avoid a lot of takedowns, or I crash a lot more because I lower my stance. Well, I didn't lower my stance because I've trained this whole camp thinking that we're going to strike at least for a good 2 or 3 minutes, and it didn't happen. Props to him. He kind of threw me like a little curveball there, But that second round, I'm like, all right. I was like, obviously he's not going to try to strike with me long if he's going to. So I just was more prepared. So when I was, second round comes out, I'm like, all right, we're gonna touch, and he actually wanted to touch gloves again, and he was very friendly, and I'm like, well, bro, like we can be friends later, but not right now, and it's not the time, okay? But yeah, he was in on a single leg, and I was able to kind of get one of my butterflies in, and shot him over, behind me, and I was like, man, as soon as I like tossed him back behind me, I knew there's moments in fights where you're like, if I catch him here, it's going to change a bit of the outcome. And sure enough, boom, I threw the knee, it landed. I didn't drop him with the knee, but obviously I followed up with a couple of different shots, and then he fell. And then obviously, you guys know the rest, and you're just able to just kind of just dictate what you're doing. But at that point, I get you. You are in trouble. You will stay in trouble, and it's going to be a problem. You know what I mean? Because I trained my ass off to know that when I smell blood, you have a very, very slim chance of surviving it. I feel like I've really kind of just developed that instinct. So yeah, it's kind of what happened second round, man.
Dude, I mean, just sending a message to the rest of the 145-pound division, boy. I'm telling you. Woo. So, I mean, the knee landed. When that knee landed, dude, I mean, because like you said, you're a tall dude. That knee came all the way up, dude. That knee came all the way up to his face, man. And you landed that knee on him, dude. But it was the elbow, man. The elbow. Like, the elbow, dude, was wild. That was wild. That was I was like, he's done. Like, he's like, Steve put him away, man. Like, and these three, you've got 3 finishes in a row, dude. Like 3 deadly finishes. Like your highlights, you know what I'm saying, are some of the best 145 and 55 highlights of recent. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was just showing somebody your highlights. I'm like, look at this. Look at how he finishes people. Like, he dispatches people. And now you're on a 3-fight streak, man. You know what I'm saying? So, Steve, we got to be looking at a ranked opponent has to be next, man. Like, they got to give you somebody that's, ranked in the top 15 for sure.
Well, I kind of want somebody that's going to be like right outside, maybe top 20. And the only reason why I say that is because if I'm going to fight someone who's ranked, I want to get paid like I'm fighting someone who's ranked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that normally comes in the third contract where like you can actually make some like decent money. I feel like your second contract is a lot better, especially compared to like your first one. But there's been very, very few people that have taken that risk that it's actually paid off for them because it's still a business. You know what I mean? Like I'll fight Volkanovski my next fight if I had to, but I'm like, you better pay me, the money that I need to fight someone like that, because what do I get out of it? You know what I mean? Like for me, I don't mind working through the ranks. I don't care. Like it's for me, it's not like I typically want to call people out. It's like one fight at a time, one strike at a time, and that's the type of person I am. I don't look too far ahead of myself, because man, once you start looking way past, the person that's literally obviously right in front of you, you're probably not gonna do well. Like you just don't look past people. Like I'm that guy that people look past all the time. You know what I mean? I'm like, bro, like I'm gonna show you why you shouldn't do that. You know what I mean? You will get an elbow to your face and you will be bleeding all over the canvas. They're gonna need a mop bucket for you, bud. You know what I mean? So like that's how I feel. That's why like I like that fight with Nate Lander, because he's not ranked, but he's like, man, he has a little bit of clout. And on top of that, he's not quite ranked, but he's like right there. Like if he beats someone good, then he should be knocking on that like 15 spot, 14 spot. You know what I mean? And because honestly, I think Alex Caceres is like ranked number 10 or something. I'm like, bro, like all day, let's go. Like I will fight Alex Caceres next. I'm fine with that. But then you look at his pay and you look at my pay, and I'm like, all right, well let's line this up a little bit, and let's just make it right. I'm not asking for buku bucks. I'm like, just make it fair, bro. Like I've been able to make money. Mainly I've only had one bonus. You know what I mean? And I'm like, bro, like even this one, I'm kind of surprised I didn't get a bonus. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what more they want to see from me, or what I can prove to them. Maybe I should just ask them, I guess. But that's where you're making money, man. Like that's the stuff that like I can put into like real estate. That's the stuff that I can start, making money, because the UFC pays more than a lot of people, but do they? Like I don't. It's like this weird area.
Like
You know what I mean?
thing. Yeah, like a weird
It's
area,
a weird area because there's money to be made in there. But man, like as much time as at least for me, like I can't speak for other people, but for as much as I train, it's not there. You know what I mean? But I know that if I keep putting in the work or whatever the case is, I'm going to surpass all that. And then we're going to, we'll start making some decent money that's just going to compensate just everything I've had to do. You know what I mean? And I think it's showing. The hard work is showing. You know what I mean? And I'm glad it's paying off. But at the end of the day, I just want to make it right. I don't want to be treated unfairly. That's kind of what I feel, or what I think.
So at the post-fight press conference, you described yourself as brutal. You used that word, man. And I think that's a great word to describe you, man. But what made that word come to you, come to your mind right away? Is that something that hit you on the spot? Is that a word that's just been kind of, what I'm saying, in your head for a while?
The word that I think of constantly is honestly relentless. That's more or less how I feel. Brutal is just what I do to people. That's the reason why my name's the Mean Machine. I'm honestly a pretty nice guy, but the moment I flip a switch, bro, like I'm gonna do mean things to you. And it's not just like a typical, like I kind of don't like it in the sense that like I wish I could just like hit you once and just like walk off just because I knew that like you're done. I'm not that guy. Right. You will have to grab me by my shoulders and yank me off of somebody to let me know that I'm done now. You know what I mean? I want to make sure that fight is done with. You know what I mean? And I will do everything I possibly can till they do that, till the rest pull me off, just to make sure I secure that win, and by any means necessary. You know what I mean? And I felt bad kind of like after the fact, because they were actually telling me, like my coaches and some of the other guys that were kind of surrounding the cage, they were telling me that when I got him in a rear naked choke, he actually went out. He actually was just, his arm went limp, but they didn't stop it. And I'm behind him. I can't see, but he was fighting off the choke moments prior to that. So, obviously I'm trained just to go, don't lose the dominant positions. So as soon as I got back on mount, I know I woke his ass up, but I hit him with 3 big elbows, man. Like, oh man, like I put some sauce in that one, bro. I put some sauce on those. I'm like, we're done if that didn't work. You know what I mean? This one should be
Bro,
fire if that didn't
bro,
work, you know?
have you went back and listened to the elbow?
Yeah,
Bro,
man.
I mean, dude, that was like the first fight, and I watched him by myself this past weekend. And that was the first fight that made me go, like, made me sit up. Like, whoa, let me put the beer down. Like, whoa, like I sat there like this, looking at the TV for a moment, but I was like, dude, I gotta hit Steve up. Like, I gotta hit him up, dude. That was, bro, and I know that was like a moment for you. I could only imagine, you know what I'm saying, landing something big like that, seeing like everything all in one, seeing your opponent down, seeing the ref wave it off, and then hearing the crowd go crazy. You know what I'm saying? But there was no crowd. Y'all was at the Apex, right?
Yeah, we're at the apex. But
But
that
still,
that, that same that
you still,
same thing that you just told me, that same thing you just told me that like you got up out of your seat and you're like, damn, like that's why I come and I do this sport because I want to make that impact. You know what I mean? I'm just not gonna be like, oh, that was a good fight. You know what I mean? Like there's people on the card, and I'm not gonna name names, bro. But like there's people on the card, I'm like, bro, this is not why people tune in to watch this fight. They just don't. You know what I
yeah.
mean? What do you want to see? You want to
Mm-hmm.
see the guts, the blood. You want to see the whole, like you want to have those feelings. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Yeah, I want you to know, like I appreciate that because that's why I also do what I do, and I take it so serious. And people think I'm just this guy that just likes to hurt people. I'm like, bro, like it's not just about that. You know what I mean? There's a lot more to it than that.
So one of the biggest things I took away from our interview last time, which is the funniest thing that you said, dude, was that your son goes around punching people. Like, dude, that was so funny, man. So, what did your son have to say after Dad's big win?
So my son, so he has a little bit of a speech delay, so like, well, you can't fully understand him.
Yeah,
But it's just like you catch words in between. It's like boxing and TV and like it's just like he gets so hyped. You know what I mean? And obviously, I wish I could see him while I fight. I wish I could be here like and then watch him watch me. But my wife was saying because again, my wife's like like I don't know if we should let him watch it and we'll watch it after the fact. You know what I mean? Or she'll let him watch it after the fact. And he gets super pumped, but he's also mad because I've been gone for a whole week. You know what I mean? So like he's happy for me, but
yeah,
he's upset because Dad's not home. Like he says, Dad's
right,
working. Dad's working right now. So
yeah,
he's out. He's at home, and I'm working. So that's what
yeah.
happened.
So, yeah, man. So let me ask you this, Steve. So it's like you have this you've set yourself up in such a good place, you know what I'm saying? I know you were talking about like, fighting the best in the division, wanting to get paid like the best in the division. All of that. You set yourself up in such a great way, man. Like you set yourself up to get those bigger contracts, to get that, you know what I'm saying, that ranked fight, to progress forward in the division, you know what I'm saying? So how do you feel knowing that you're in a better spot than most people, you know what I'm saying? Like some people, like your opponent, you know what I'm saying? Like he's in the interesting spot right now. He's got to bounce back. He's got to deal with that. You've set yourself up for a lot of possibilities. You've opened yourself up with this 3-fight finishing streak, man. Like how you feeling about where you are right now? What your situation is right now as far as the division?
I'm blessed, bro. Like at the end of the day, like I'm the definition of hard work just pays off. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, obviously I have abilities and, some of it's, talent, but man, like I try to cross all my T's and dot all my I's when it comes to, the grind. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And I'm trying to like, especially at my gym, because Jackson Wink is notorious for all the great athletes that have come from that gym. And when I was coming up, those are the people I looked up to, and they showed me and a lot of us how to become champions, how to be successful in the sport. And now a lot of them are gone. They retired. They're doing different things in their life. And now someone like me is stepping up into that role. And there's a lot of this new meat that comes in, and they're just trying to like figure it out. But the newer generations, man, they they think they just watch UFC and they think that they're good enough to be there, and they don't train like how you probably should. And I'm like, no, dude. I was like, trust me. I was like, if you put the work in, even if you put the work in and grind your ass off, like especially before you get into the UFC, you don't want to be in the UFC and be surprised. You just don't. Like that's terrible. You're gonna get cut, and you gotta rework your way back up. Like get used to the grind before you get to the UFC because it's just in your nature to just be a hard worker. And so when shit hits the fan in the cage, it's not like a shocker. You know what I mean? It's like,
Right.
all right, we trained for this. Like it's fine. I'm okay. Like my last fight, I got dropped. All right, no big deal. Like we worked from worse. You know what I mean? I'm fine. I'm moving. You know, all right. What do I got to do next? Like it just like you're trained to handle adversity instead of when adversity hits you, you panic. You know, it's that fight or flight type of situation. And a lot of like the newer guys, like they're barely experiencing that. And man, I just want to set that tone for the newer generation coming up. I want to be that like kind of like just not necessarily like at the role model, but like just to show them like the way, kind of, you know what I mean? Because I feel like successful people should want other people to be successful. And right now, I'm blessed. I'm successful. And I'm like, I have a little bit of notoriety now. I have a little bit more leverage and different things. And I just want to like, dude, like, I'm not just telling you this because like I'm in the UFC. Like, I'm winning, and I'm winning in spectacular fashion because of just grind. You know, just a day in, day out grind. And like like I said, I'm blessed beyond what I ever expected. I wanted to get to the UFC so bad, but then I see like other people that like they get to the UFC and they don't know what to do. That was their biggest goal in life. And I'm like, no, bro, like no, you're here now. You know, it's time. You know, and then before you know it, they're 1-3 or 1-2, and they get cut and they're gone, and it's a sad day because they didn't know what to do. And for me, it was just like I didn't even feel like a UFC fighter until I won in the cage.
Right.
And so I'm in my head, I'm like, bro, like one step at a time. One climb, one step in front of the other, and that belt will eventually we can reach it. You know what I mean? But I got to keep doing exactly what you're seeing. You know what I mean? I have to be undeniable. Like I have to, like everybody has to see Steve Garcia, and they can all doubt me and count me out because that's what they do for me. And little by little, inch by inch, they're just like, well, dude, I don't know. He looked pretty good that last fight.
Yeah.
I mean, oh well, he's the next guy's gonna beat him. The next guy's gonna beat him. Okay, well, all right. You know what I mean? That's just how it is, bro. It's weird.
Yeah, that's how it's gonna be. So you just big win. You come off this win, you're feeling good. You got you some time off. What does 2024 look like for Steve Garcia?
Well, in January, I'm going to Disney World.
Hey.
I'm gonna take my son down there. Me and my wife are gonna spend a couple of days down there, and it's much needed, man. This like weird ending of 2023. I'm blessed because we got that big dub. You know what I mean? My I got good Christmas money, and I get to bless my family that way. So like I'm blessed. I feel like God's blessed me. You know what I mean? I don't want to take that away ever. But 2024, I'm trying to get back in there. March, between March and April. And I have a feeling they're going to give me like a step up in competition. And like in my head, I feel bad kind of for my family, but now I gotta up it. You know what I mean? Yeah. But like, I not only do I have to like, I always feel like I have to be better than my last performance. You know what I mean? It's hard because like I hold myself to a high standard. So like, I'm like, how am I going to beat this guy? You know what I mean? So I'm happy. I haven't shown you guys all my tricks. You know what I mean? So I'm keeping stuff in my back pocket. I got more stuff to show, and I'm kind of happy I haven't showed everything. I'm not showing all my cards. You know what I mean? Yeah. Sometimes, I gotta save that ace, in my back pocket. But what I will say is that you're gonna get a show every time.
Yeah, man, I look forward to it. Like when I look at these, when one card ends, I'm already looking to see who's fighting the next week. You know what I'm saying? So I was looking forward to it 2 weeks ago, and then it happened. I was like, Steve, man, I was looking forward to seeing Steve. And then I'm like, then I turn around and see like, oh, it's happening next week. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, all right, so we got Steve, he's back, man. So dude, it was just good to see because, not only because you come on my podcast, you know what I'm saying, but certain fighters that I like to watch perform, I like to follow their path, you know what I'm saying, so that down the road we have something to talk about, you know what I'm saying. And I knew the win over Chase Hooper was huge. That was a huge win for you because Chase Hooper has a name. You know what I'm saying? Somebody in the comments earlier said somebody said Steve beat Hooper so bad it made him a better fighter. But
he's doing good, right? He's doing good. Yeah.
His hands look better. His hands look much better, right?
He's looking better. Yes, he is. Sometimes we all gotta get our ass whooping, bro. I've had mine, so you're welcome.
Yeah. But then this one, I said this is, because I know this guy's style, not yours, the other Costa. I knew his style. I was like, this is an interesting clash of styles, you know what I'm saying? Because they keep, but they keep kind of pairing you up with these grapplers, you know what I'm saying? These grappler heavy fighters. And it's like dispatching these guys, all these guys trying to strike with Steve Garcia, like that's not what it's not a smart idea. Like if you're not solid there, if you're not solid in your stand up, like don't go out there playing around with Steve Garcia, man. Like I really just want to say that, like, don't go out there playing with Steve Garcia, dude, because he's gonna tune your ass up. Like it's that simple. It's literally that simple, man. And then when I saw that, I was like, he got him, But I'm excited to see, Steve, what they put in front of you next. And I'm excited to follow your journey, to kind of see your training and see your footage, footage that you fighters put out there, during your camps and stuff like that, man. Because I think 2024 is gonna be. I think Steve Garcia is gonna step it up in 2024. They're gonna put somebody in front of you, and you're just gonna be ready to go.
Steve might just emerge. Who knows? You know what I mean? I'm trying, bro. I'm trying. Hey, I'm only in control of what I'm able to control, man. And that's what I do in the cage. Everybody else around me, they can say what they want to say. They can say what they want to say. They can deny me. They can doubt me. Have at it, bro. At the end of the day, you are the only person that is really able to, how do I word this? So like the best way I can explain it is, if you don't believe in yourself, who is? So you got to believe in yourself, man. And that's all that matters. Ultimately, like for me, I have my small group. They believe in me. You know what I mean? My coaches, my team, those people. But if you look everywhere else around me, man, they just, and look at the Vegas, match, what do you call it? The odd makers, bro. I'm like, well, I've made some people close to me, not necessarily, like I've had, bosses that I've worked for, and they're like, no, we're putting some money on Steve. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I'm like, that's where I would put my money. You know what I mean? I put my money on me.
Absolutely.
I bet on myself every time,
Yes, sir.
But that's what's nice about believing in yourself. You don't need anybody else to.
Yes, sir. Well, yeah, man. I think everybody's excited to see what's next for Steve Garcia. What I was impressed with, before I'm gonna say this, lastly, is when you were coming out, what the commentators were saying about you. I was like, finally, they're recognizing Steve Garcia. Like when you're coming out, they were like, this guy is a deadly, deadly, deadly finisher. And they was hitting all the points. Like, don't stand in front of Steve Garcia, man, because this guy's gonna come at you, like what the commentators were saying. What they say really does kind of like sway people's thought processes about certain and stuff like that. And sometimes it pisses me off because they don't talk about certain fighters in the correct way to me. You know what I'm saying? But in cases like where a fighter actually deserves it, I like hearing that kind of like warning message being thrown out there by the commentators, that everybody can hear that. You know what I'm saying? So, I really, really like that, man. But like I said, man, we're looking forward to 2024 Mean Machine, and I'm ready for it, man. We're gonna go ahead and close this thing down. I'm gonna let you close it out. Say what you want to say, man. Give a shout out to anybody you want to give a shout out to, so that you can enjoy the rest of your night, sir.
Nice, man. Man. Number one, God is good. always is, always will be. Thank you for my fans and everybody else that's tuning in on my boy's podcast.
Yes,
Give him support so he can just keep some of our fighters relevant, and we appreciate that. So thank you guys. That tune in. Shout out to my family, all my sponsors, everybody, people that watched last Saturday. I hope you were satisfied. If not, I'll just wait for my next one. You know what I mean? I
I'm
might
telling
boost
you,
something
bro.
up. But thank you
If you ain't
guys. I
watched it,
appreciate
you
it.
gotta go watch it. If you ain't watched it, I suggest you go watch it.
Hey, if you don't know, you will. If you don't know who Steve Garcia is, you will.
Yes, sir. Hey, guys, there you have it. As promised, UFC featherweight prospect, hot prospect, one of the hottest prospects at 145, Mr. Steve Garcia, Mean Machine. You know what I'm saying? Stay tuned, guys. Definitely go follow him on his social medias. Like I said last time, don't expect Steve Garcia to answer your inboxes and shit like that, because he just don't fuck around with people like that. So, I mean, it is what it is, man. But Steve, once again, man, thank you for coming on, bro. And next time, after your next fight, win, lose, or draw, we'll get you right back on here. We're gonna talk about what happened, bro.
Let's do it, brother.
Right.
I love being on the podcast with you, brother.
Yes, sir, man. Hey, until next time, my friend.
All right, brother. You have a good one, sir.
You too. There you have it. There you have it. Steve, the Mean Machine Garcia in the flesh, guys. I'm getting off of here. This is your boy BJ, back from No Filter MMA. Drop those comments in the comment section. Hit that like, hit that dislike. And if you guys haven't already, hit that subscribe button, and your boy's out. Peace.